Music is about to face its biggest challenge in history: man versus machine. And unfortunately, this is why I think the machines will win. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Ministry of Guitar. I'm Utkarsh coming to you from Singapore. Now, the news recently has featured the suspected AI band to Velvet Sundown. And there are plenty of AI bands parodies out there, but this is the first one. If it really is an AI band, still some debate there, with a significant following. Regardless of the Velvet Sundown, what is clear is that there is a battle coming in front of us. A battle between synthetic content versus human content. Right? Synthetic content created by all of these AIs, machines, whatever you want to call it, and those created by humans. Now, you may think that there's a debate to be had. There's a debate to be had perhaps on the art and science of music. Is making music an art? Is it a science? The art side of you will say that look at all these untrained musicians who wrote the best songs in history. The science side will say that every hit song can be distilled down to these are the formulas, these are the chord changes, blah, blah, blah. Right? And a lot of modern songs are written with the formula, even though they're written by humans or professional songwriters. But the debate on the art and science of music is not the point. There is something there, and I think the future will bear us out. But there is a bigger reason. There is a bigger reason why this battle between man versus machine, human versus AI, it is stacked against the humans' favors to begin with. It is stacked against the humans. Why do I say this? I want you to think about your Spotify playlist or your Spotify homepage or the homepage of whichever app or whichever service that you use to listen to music. Now I want you to think about something else altogether. I want you to think about your favorite e-commerce app, right? Maybe Amazon, maybe something else, Shopee here in Singapore. There's so many other things. And what you don't realize, or rather, even think of your YouTube app when you open it up. What you don't realize is that being on the beginning of that app, whether it's on shopping, right, on Amazon, whether you're the first result that pops up when you search, or whether when you open the app, these are the first results based on your past history of what you might want to buy. Or similarly, in your Spotify, when you open it up and there are results of maybe what you listen to, but maybe what to recommend. These slots are not only slots there for the sake of it, but this is prime real estate in the business of each of these companies. Amazon sells the prime slots in their app. If I am selling some product and I want it to feature prominently when someone searches for the category or even when someone logs in, I have to pay for Amazon ads. Google search is a simple example. You have to pay for Google search to feature on top. YouTube, I've talked about this. Increasingly, you have some organic content, but you have to pay for it. So this is prime real estate. And when it comes to the music apps, it's prime real estate. Now, today it may be more focused on what you have already listened to, but increasingly you're probably seeing recommendations are creeping in. You may like this is creeping in, so on and so forth. And it is very obvious that gradually this prime real estate that exists in these apps, in these home screens of users, will be further and further monetized in Spotify or any other app as it has been for uh, uh, other apps like shopping apps. Now, what is the consequence of this is when you are choosing to give prime real estate to something or someone or some product, you will choose to give prime real estate to whatever gives you the most money as a business. So say for example, if I'm Amazon and I'm selling the prime real estate on the homepage to whoever is the highest bidder who wants to put an Amazon ad there. In the case of Spotify, people are not bidding to buy, not yet, those slots on your Spotify homepage. But in the absence of that, Spotify will prioritize whatever music it thinks is going to give it the best return on investment for Spotify choosing to put that music there. It will still depend on a couple of factors. Factor number one, what will the listener rather listen to? Will they end up listening to Spotify or drop out? So they have to put something that they think the listener will like. But there's also factor number two. Factor number two is how much is it costing Spotify to put it there? If the listener listens to it anyway, is it better for Spotify to put content A or content B or song A or song B? If song A costs a lot more for Spotify to put up there versus song B. This sounds theoretical to you, but it's not. Because guess what? Human content is expensive because you have to pay artists, you have to pay artist rights, you have to pay all the different things that go into compensating a real human being with a soul. There's no religious context here. I'm just using it for the purpose of understanding. However, when it comes to synthetic content, AI created content, which is which is something that Spotify has already been looking at, which is basically content that is cheap to produce, perfect fit content. That is so cheap. There's no, if it's generated by AI, by one person doing a few prompts versus a bunch of artists training themselves over years to become great songwriters, it is much cheaper. So if I, as a business, if I'm Spotify or Apple or whoever, if I have to choose two songs that the person is equally going to like, one of which is generated by a human and one of, or not generated, see, I'm already getting into that language. One of them is created by a human and the other one is generated by AI or a synthetic means of making music. The business, the Spotify will always put the synthetic content because it's cheaper for them. They don't have to pay rights. There's less cost of goods for them. So do you see? The fact of the matter is that all other things being equal, even if there's a genuine discussion to be had on whether humans will prefer human generated content or AI generated songs, whether it can be a formula or not, even if that everything's equal there, AI or synthetic content has an advantage in terms of being more profitable for all of these apps and music providers and streaming providers to prioritize, because it will earn them more money because there are no humans to be paid. This is automation 101. If previously you had to hire 10 humans in a factory to make a car, but now a robot can make the factory in the car, you will go with the robot because the robot does not have a salary. And so in the case of music, earlier you did need the humans to do everything. We talked about this. I've had so many videos on this channel. But now you've gotten to a stage where you can just create a song in the style of Led Zeppelin, but with Jim Morrison's voice, singing songs about vampires jumping around the wild, wild west or whatever it might be. And it'll create something for you, right? That is a lot less human labor versus somebody sitting and recording a guitar, somebody sitting recording the drums, somebody putting it together. Think of the difference in labor, think of the difference in cost, right? So it is but natural for these companies, for the streaming companies, to prioritize the cheaper things because it will make them more money. Because they're getting the same amount of money per streaming, per Spotify subscriber, or for whatever per stream, regardless of whether the content or the music is created by a human or it's created by a synthetic. It's better for them if the synthetic cheap content can keep the paying customer happy. So yeah, they will automatically prioritize that. So net, it's beginning. The synthetic content, synthetic music is here. And I am sad to say, but I think it is highly likely that not only will synthetic content start creeping in, but will rather overtake regular content. People of my generation, generation before me, maybe generation after me, will protest. Others will be like, music is music. It sounds good. I'm going to listen to it. I don't give a shit where it came from. And ultimately, we'll probably reach a world where synthetic content, synthetic music maybe becomes the new normal, and real human content, music, becomes something rare. It's like the handcrafted stuff that you have today, right? Most stuff is machine built, but the handcrafted stuff is very rare because it takes more time, but it's not the most efficient thing to do. And this vision of the world ultimately is a little bit dystopic for me because, we use the words like soulless music or soulless whatever in a very, very, trivial fashion. But this is the true definition of soulless. Again, no religious context here, that you have on one side conscious beings creating something that is an expression of their humanity versus basically just a bunch of code organizing pixels and sound waves according to its long machine learning models, which stimulate a certain reaction, right? And if that becomes the primary source of music and content and entertainment and art, I don't know. That's not a very, very nice sounding world to me. It's great for the bottom line of the people owning the rights to these machines and these technologies. But for everyone else, it's like living in a hollow, soulless material or maybe synthetic world. All right, folks, let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.